So then we get into competence principles. The remaining 5 are about things we do, not necessarily who we are. And so the first one is the power of communication. In the book, I introduce a model of effective communication. It was done by a professor named Wilbur Schramm years ago, and talks about the idea of encoding and decoding. And it's a very interesting model, and it's one that I've thought a lot about as I've interacted with my kids. I can encode lots of messages to them, but it makes very little difference how they would decode my message. So it's important to encode it in the right way, and so they can decode appropriately and back and forth. Then we talk in the book a lot about keys to effective communication. The next one is the power of presence. That's the idea that we have to make time. You know, we talk about this quality time, quantity time dichotomy. Well, I don't buy that. You can't have quality without quantity. And so you have to spend time, and you have to spend effective time with your family and be present. This example of big rocks, you've probably all heard the analogy, and Covey talks about it a lot, where if you've got a whole stack of things to make fit in a jar, you've got sand and pebbles and big rocks. If you start with the sand, and then you put the pebbles in, there's not room for the big rocks. And so you have to start with the big rocks, and then the little ones fall in and fill in all the spaces between, and you get a full functional jar. And so big rocks are the kinds of things that are important in a family. They're the best things that we do. The third one is the power of love. And this one was really informed by reading, for me years ago, the book, The Five Love Languages. And then we have to communicate love, not in the way we receive it, but in the way the person we are intending to show love to receives it. And I share some classic examples from our family in the book. Julie and I are a good example of that. Julie is a quality time love language learner. And so she hears love when I spend quality time with her. I'm a words of affirmation guy. Words mean a lot to me. And I can live all day on a compliment, don't even have to eat, it just feels so good. And so we communicate and receive love in different ways. And part of the key that we talk about in competence is figuring out your child or your spouse's love language and how it is you should communicate with them. Ninth principle is the power of balance. And that's the idea that anytime we are out of balance, then we are out of kilter and things don't work well. And so it's about defining values and valuing them. It's about the good, better, best principle. How is it that we make decisions about where we spend our time? And then making sure we create boundaries around the time we spend. And then finally, the last one is the power of high expectations. And I get more grief about this one from dads that write to me than almost any of these other principles. And they say, you set high expectations, your children will invariably fail, and they'll feel like they disappointed you. I said that we're talking about it in the wrong way. What we talk about are things like goals. We're clear about our expectations, and we allow our children to not quite reach the high expectation. That's okay. And we communicate that that's okay. It's in the reaching that we make the difference. And then that we take opportunity to celebrate success. And I share some fun stories in the book about ways we did in our family over the years kind of celebrate success.